I'm going to be doing 3 different charts. The first one we're going to do is Venus entering Gemini, which is happening on Saturday, which is the 8th. And this is at Eastern time. It's happening at 10:01, which is kind of interesting. But this right here is I just like the time, how it repeats like that. And I know it's showing the 29:59, but usually that's because it's like really close to the next minute for it to go 0. So if I were to put like 10:02, it would be the 0 thing, but I don't know. Like, that's the way it was on my calendar. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put the 10:01, but you know, everyone has their little seconds and stuff that they want to vary with math, so, but that's the only discrepancy I'm seeing with this time thing. But it's not really that much of a difference because it's literally like the next minute. But this is happening at night, like Saturday night. And I'm about to shut this window over here because everyone is just deciding to mow their lawn right now. Are you serious? But this is going to be more energy moving into Gemini come Saturday. Yes, everyone is starting to mow their freaking lawn. I gotta. Why do they wait to do this until, like, at this time? Okay, I'm trying to get back in my chair. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying. Venus is entering Gemini. So what we're going to be looking at here is come Saturday night, we're going to be feeling another shift, this time dealing with Venus type energies. We're going to be moving out of the kind of lofty, steady pace with our relationships, especially if we've been building new ones, into a more fast-paced, interactive, very high communication type energy when it comes to our relationships. It's quite possible that there are going to be people that you haven't talked to in a while that kind of start like coming back and wanting to talk to you a lot again, especially if like you've been kind of like hermiting and recluse and doing a lot of self-care and kind of shutting yourself off from the world. This is going to be people wanting to contact you, wanting to literally kind of come back into your life. This is kind of the start of a different kind of energy because Venus being in Gemini, it's in the sign it's going to go retrograde in along with Mercury. There's going to be a whole lot of energy with back and forth retrogrades with Gemini energy and the planets. So this is kind of starting off like, make sure you're paying attention to what is happening as we're heading into this energy, especially starting like this weekend, like Saturday, like obviously it's heading into Mother's Day, so Mother's Day could be definitely starting something for a lot of people, or literally your relationship with your mom could be something that is really highlighted. But this energy itself is a whole lot of very rapid energy. It's also a lot of very creative energy. It might just be that some people, even though there's going to be this energy of people wanting to talk a lot, there's still going to be those people that are like, I'm in creative mode right now and I don't really want to be bothered. And that's going to be hard for some people to swallow, especially if they're used to being kind of spotlight or center of attention energy. This is going to make it to where they kind of act out. Especially if you're pulling away and it's like your best interest kind of energy to really go towards what you want to do, and it's actually separating you from people. Because this is going to be something that quite possibly while Venus was in Taurus, you've been implementing in your day to day, and there wasn't anyone bothering you. And now that people are coming around and wanting to talk, it's like you're kind of like, I don't want my routines where I've kind of been starting to take care of myself to be taken up by other people's drama, because that can be what this energy is too. Because people could definitely be coming in and just being very emotional, being very dramatic, and you're just be careful you're not caught up in the energy of taking on other people's shit, because that can easily happen right now. Because people are being handed a lot of karma. Like I said, this is the beginning of a rollout of a lot of energy that's going to be very rapid and just hard hitting for the rest of this month. It is not going to like let up. If people have been feeling drained now, it's going to be even more drained as the month goes on. There might be more rapid energy, there might be an influx of energy coming in, but there's still going to be an overall very drained feeling to everything that we're doing, just because of the fact that there really isn't a balance, unless you're really working at it, between like your passions, your emotions, and the need for space as well as socialization. There's like so much being juggled at one time that it'd be very easy for people to lose their tempers, especially when it comes to built up emotions. Because one thing that I do want to talk about is over here we have Mars and the Moon squaring off against each other. I mean, lovely joke here, but that makes for a great Mother's Day energy, but completely sarcastic, because this energy pretty much has the planets swapped. Like, Aries energies is at home with Mars, and Cancer energy is at home with Cancer. I mean, obviously with Cancer, but at home with the Moon. Having these swapped is them being in an uncomfortable place, and then they're also fighting each other. So, this very impulsive energy with emotions literally is what both of these things are doing. There isn't like, unless you're really trying to, which is going to be hard, like really trying to channel it into something creative is going to be the absolute best thing you can do. But there's going to be such a heightened focus, and I know this is so ironic with it being Mother's Day in the United States. I'm not sure if it's Mother's Day everywhere else, but particularly in the US it's Mother's Day, and this is like in the family house, and it's going between like married couples, family, like this is kind of like, you know, get-togethers for Mother's Day, like, you know, what can go wrong kind of energy. But it's because there's a lot of people that have some issues here, because Chiron's mixing in and wanting to put its foot in there, and it can end up being a mess if we're not careful. The best thing, like I said, there could be some unexpected blessings that come out of it, but at the same time, it's almost like this is like very easily getting upset about little things that have been ticking you off for a while, and it just coming out because everyone's at like this heightened energy. Now, if it's not Mother's Day for you, I'm just finding it very ironic that this is going back and forth between these energies for Mother's Day. But if it's not Mother's Day, or this isn't something you're really going to be celebrating and having that kind of interaction, what could possibly be happening is having this internal struggle when it comes to how to incorporate family and relationships, how to honor your own emotions and what you actually want to do, and then also being able to express yourself in a way that isn't like a volcano, or you literally having to deal with people that are like this. This can mean a lot of stuff bubbling to the surface, especially for married couples that like have children, or they could get an unexpected child, um, like unexpected pregnancy announcements, and then it's like it causes kind of an uproar. Um, because this is like really mixing into that energy, especially with Venus changing a sign here. It's like like Gemini's news, so there definitely can be like this new news, so to speak, that wasn't really coming up during Taurus season, and then all of a sudden we learn something like when it starts moving over there. Either that or new things that have started, it's going to kick up and keep getting more and more momentum, especially if it started happening towards the later degrees of Taurus. Um, there's also this energy for those that have been really working at their different endeavors, especially if these are starting businesses or creative endeavors, or really going after opportunities. Um, there is this energy coming in that's trying to help. And what's interesting is if it's something you really want to do, because having all of this kind of sun fifth house energy with creativity and passions and all of this other stuff, and but beginning new things, and having it trining and sextiling with Pluto and Neptune. This is like Pluto is bringing us back to visit something that possibly we either threw away, or something that we need to get rid of in order to follow what makes us happy, because this fifth house energy is happiness. Having Neptune at 22 degrees and sextiling both of these is making it to where, like, the way we're talking, because, you know, third house energy, the way we're talking about these things is becoming more loving and more accepting. That's the good side of Pisces energy, is that unconditional love and like better understanding that comes from being able to adjust to these things. But this also makes it easy because, like I said, always make sure you look at the spectrums here, because sextiles and trines make very easy channels and opportunities for things to happen, but you are still deciding what's happening with that. So if instead you're using this energy for an easy way to create escapism from the things that are trying to be shown to you, for you to be able to start these new things that make you happy, this is going to make it to where you might possibly get money to literally decide, do I want to move forward and invest in myself, or am I going to go back to an old habit? One that brings me comfort, one that makes me feel like I have a close community. Like, it could be people going back to vices because they feel excluded, because this could be sobriety, and then people, like I said, a lot of people have been feeling alone. So Venus going into Gemini, it's like, I want that talking with people. I'm tired of being by myself, and that could make people go back to these things. So it's really important for you to see where you are with this, because having this Jupiter energy going and squaring against Venus, this is making it very challenging to understand where we can find the blessings in our relationships and the individuality, because with Jupiter still in Aquarius, it's barely in Aquarius, but Jupiter's still in Aquarius, and it's trying to show us, you know, what we're choosing to do with our relationships. If we feel like the only way for us to have identity is through community, then what's going to happen is this is going to create a very easy exploitation of being pulled back into old vices, especially if you worked very hard at being able to move past these things. especially with codependent relationships or even getting back together. With relationships that bring this out, just make sure you are thinking before you're acting. Like, are you acting out of loneliness, or are you acting because you actually want, yeah, Owen, just come in laughing because you know. Um, are you acting out of loneliness, or are you actually coming in? But this is like deciding if relationships are healthy for you, if they let you be yourself in them, or are you shutting it down? Because if you're shutting it down in order to be part of the crowd because you don't want to be excluded anymore, you're gonna create some very like, this is gonna lead to some obsessive things, some pretty bad habits. It's also gonna completely undo anything communication wise that would have been good for yourself, because you're gonna go right back to those negative thought patterns. But the thoughts are gonna be a lot more rapid. Pretty much, it could be like, um, this could be like going into a depression after having a period of being able to actually come out of it. Like, if you've been going through a really like good period and you've been feeling like almost like a high going through like this energy, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're, it's just changing. That's what this energy can do, and that's why it can make people feel like they need to go back to something, because they feel like the changes they made that's actually good for them is what's causing this. So you have to be careful, because literally what this is like the filtering out of the rest of this energy, and it's going to feel a little confusing until things kind of even out between these. And you also have to realize that we're only a couple weeks away from the eclipse, so it's not going to ease off for a bit, and that's why this is going to feel so heavy. Just make sure anything you've been working on that you've created that has been healthy for you, that you don't just chunk it out of the window, because this energy is rolling in very rapidly. The reason we were given this time to create these things is so we don't get put into the space where we're pushovers for people going through their meltdowns or going through all their problems and going through their karma, which is a big part of this too. There's definitely going to be some people getting some unexpected karma coming in and ripping up some shit. Like I said, for some people that's getting told that they're having a kid. For some, that's going to be very happy. For others, it's going to be like, what the hell? But also this could be completely change. Like, say you started a business, this could be completely changing what you're doing very unexpectedly, and not like completely restructuring things, feeling very like out of whack with it. But it's because you're finding what you really value and what you want to do, and it's kind of like fighting against the ego voice that's telling you like, what about your security, what about being practical. Make sure if you are taking risks that you're taking calculated risks, because this isn't the kind of energy to emotionally jump ship with, because that's, this Mars Cancer energy is over here like emotional jump ship thing. Hello, hun. And it really looks, this just has a lot to do, for a lot of these conversations, it's going to be around money. There's going to be so many conversations with money, it's going to be kind of ridiculous. For a lot of people, it's going to be family really imposing their views, especially feminine figures. I mean, like I said, for the US, it is going to be Mother's Day, with the irony of the planets lining up to create that kind of drama on Mother's Day. But this is trying to show us that definitely this kind of stuff can pop out of nowhere. But this could also be, even if you're not celebrating Mother's Day, This could be feminine figures that you view like family, coming in and giving you a really tough time, or having breakdowns, or like trying to get in your business and it's really frying your brain because you have enough going on. So this is like very nosy, gossipy type energy. It's also energy that very easily, since people are gossiping and not keeping shit to themselves, that can really piss some people off. Um, you have to be careful with how this moon and Mars energy is swapped, because for some people this could definitely get violent, like because emotions are so high, it's like seeing that rage and not thinking. So definitely be careful with this kind of energy. Um, don't go starting, just be very careful, because people's tempers can definitely flare in this energy very easily. Even though it is the holidays, so to speak, that is not going to matter in this case. For some people, they're going to use that as an excuse. Like I said, if you do celebrate that, they're going to use it as an excuse for why they're acting a certain way, because this is definitely the energy of people losing their shit and then trying to come back and say, like, oh, yeah, that happened because of this, like, you should cut me some slack, kind of thing. No. This is definitely showing you where there needs to be boundaries with people. Because if you've been taking your time to yourself, if you've been working on self-care, if you have a routine in place that you really worked on and it actually is helping your health, is helping make you happier with, like I said, not just feminine figures, but other people coming back out of nowhere that you haven't talked to in like probably over a month or so, or even longer, if they're coming back out of nowhere and trying to talk to you and they're being very needy, or they're just draining, like, because this completely can be someone just being very draining, because it's like, oh my gosh, there's all this stuff happening in my life since the last time I saw you, and you're kind of like, um, me too, but I'm not reaching out trying to dump on anybody. Like, there's going to be the polar opposites happening here. And for some that have been having their space and they're very happy in their space, they're going to get very protective, because Cancer energy is very protective energy. They're going to start getting very protective over their space and their time, and this is going to be teaching a lot of boundaries. But like I said, you guys, all of us need to be careful of our own emotions, because what is moving right now is like building up like an emotional crescendo. It's not going to quiet down. So if you're already feeling like tense and on edge, like things are starting to build up, like this is kind of your cue to start like trying to get yourself down a little bit, because it's going to keep heating up. It's not going to quiet down as time moves on. That's why it's really important that if you have been doing anything, don't let anyone wreck your schedule. No matter what it is, don't let people wreck your schedules. If you want to extend yourself to somebody, make sure you still have healthy boundaries. If you haven't made healthy boundaries yet, it's best you start making them as soon as possible, because there's definitely going to be this huge shove where people become extremely clingy and needy, and their only drive and mission is to cling to you and drive you nuts. So, like I know I've said it many times, but unless you really want this energy of people hanging out with you, this could even happen at work. For some of you, like having this gossipy shit happen at work where you're just like really not wanting any part of it, make sure that is what you're showing, because any kind of interest you show, because Gemini is curiosity, depending on where you put your curiosity in your relationships, like if your curiosity is more towards self-discovery, creating, having fun, that kind of thing, then that's what you're going to be bringing to you. If you're like getting a little more curious about the gossip, or just other people's business in general and not staying in your lane, it's going to really come back and bite you in the ass, because Saturn's doing some karma shit over here, floating around and just deciding it wants to be touching base with everybody. It looks like Saturn's getting aspected by pretty much everything. and Mars is going to keep moving further up in Cancer, so eventually there's going to be an inconjunct between Mars and Saturn too. So Saturn is just having a grand old time touching on everybody over here. Hi Rajan. But yeah, for those of you that weren't here to start, I'm not going to be doing the Astro Chat next Wednesday. I can't be live on Wednesday. I have something personal. So what I'm doing for you guys is I'm doing the 3 major transits between now and not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, so you guys have everything. And then I'm also going to do the Astro Dice too. And I'll make them all separate videos if you guys want to watch those. This is Venus entering Gemini, and this is happening on Saturday, around 10 at night Eastern time. So wherever you are, just like I said, that's why I'm saying this is kind of interesting for Mother's Day energy, because it's literally just swooping in and doing this. We're all really going to be feeling like what we need to do. You don't get a forehead kiss before bed. It actually is really important, Owen. I can't not do this. But all this energy, like I said, if you're already starting to feel the buildup, if you're already starting to feel like emotionally you want to erupt, sit back and really take stock of what's going on around you, because this is like the beginning of the build for the emotions. Like, we've basically just started this, and it's going to keep getting more and more heightened as everything starts shifting. I know you're being you, but this is really important. Like I was saying, you don't want to already be in a headspace where you're wanting to run off and cut everyone. I joke around saying I'm gonna cut you, like the people, and I know that some people are like, oh my gosh, but it's like I'm a short little thing. I look like that little chick meme with the butter knife, like quite literally. Like, for some reason I'm just not threatening at all, and people just laugh at me. But this right here is, like I said, some people are just going to really erupt emotionally. If you know the people that you're dealing with are prone to being violent when they get emotionally angry, no matter what type it is, whether it's hurting themselves or other people, this would be a good time to create boundaries and just make space. Or at least make it to where there's like safe space for you to go if this is happening, or like a safe haven, like a friend or someone that you can actually go to if you're like in this kind of situation where you need space. There's also this sense of new energy, new relationships coming in, on top of the old ones coming back and trying to talk to you. Some people, it's going to be like a happy thing. They're coming back and talking. You're not going to expect it. And it's going to be like all hunky-dory. Others, it's going to be like, I wasn't talking to you for a reason. And then meeting new people, because Gemini is like this networking energy, being like all mixing up with Mercury and the North Node, is like getting pulled towards your people, the people that literally talk your language. They understand you, and thank you for following, hun. They're gonna be, and the ding going off, they're gonna be able to not only help you understand yourself, they're not gonna not only understand you very easily without you having to explain what you're talking about, but I'm reading the 3 major transits that are coming up, and then I'm going to be doing Astro Dice for all the zodiac signs after I do these transit charts. But welcome, hun. So, definitely a lot of people. And if you're one of those people that, like I said, you've been just chilling by yourself and you've been feeling good and not really needing this like rambunctious energy, this is going to be a lot, and it's going to be a real test of your patience and your boundaries. For others, if you're like, okay, cool, like, you know, I've had enough time by myself, I'm cool starting to socialize again and stuff. You're probably going to want to do this in like increments because it's going to be very overwhelming, this energy. For others of you, don't dip back into bad habits just out of loneliness, like I was saying earlier, because it could really put you back quite a bit. Because having all this, for some of you, it's a lot of past memories that really anchor into self-worth. Um, if you find self-worth in some of your relationships and they're coming back and talking to you and it's making you want to go back to old bad habits, really put yourself first here and don't allow that as much to your ability to come in and start changing up your life like this. Thank you, hon. But I think that is pretty much what I'm seeing for Venus going into Gemini.